Cheers, everybody. Welcome.
Hello. Good morning, or afternoon, or night. How is
Feels
everybody?
like an eternity since we've done a live show.
Has it been an eternity? It's been like 2 months, yeah?
Yeah, but I feel like it's a long time.
Yeah. But we've both been
it's
doing like lives on our Patreon, so I feel like I'm not as...
Yeah.
Like, it hasn't been that long. Just a while since we've done it together.
Exactly. It's more fun this way.
I was going to post on Discord. Letting everyone know we're live. I always forget how to find my own lives. There it is. I always forget how to find my own lives.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, why is it not in my subscription feed?
How are you all doing on this fine Tuesday morning? Cass, how are you doing?
I am ready to go back to bed. It's one of those days. It is one of those days.
I feel like I've also had a trying morning. I dumped an entire glass of water on my desk this morning. I ruined one of my sticker sheets. It got all over my SD cards. I think they're waterproof, but like, I don't know. It got on my new journal a little bit. It was like, give me the strength to make it through this Tuesday. I can't do this right now.
I dropped my breakfast sandwich on the ground, if that makes you feel better. As I was putting it together, all ingredients, and it just went bloop, and I'm like, ugh! It was wonderful.
All the homies are going through it.
What a morning.
Honestly, I hope everybody who's watching, I hope your morning has gone better than ours.
We usually chat for about 10-ish minutes before we start discussing our book.
Our book. Is this stream an hour early?
Is it?
This is normally when, at least the time for me when I do these streams.
Did I not change the time on my announcement? You know what? It is an hour early.
Oh, you're so right.
Well.
So this is awkward. Look, the stream is right now. I'm so sorry. I was incorrect.
That's on me because it was going to be a different day, but Katie was like, I can't do that day. And I was like, Katie.
I'm sorry. Like, look, normally I don't really have a lot of things going on. So like whatever time Cass can do, I'm like, that's great. But this weekend I had friends coming into town. So it just threw everything off.
Yeah, that is completely my bad because I'm in Eastern Standard Time. So in my head, I was like, yeah, it's at 11 because it's 11 a.m. for me right now. But it's 10 a.m. for Katie. So whoopsie. We'll get that solved for next time.
Sorry, guys.
Apologies. I put it in the Discord and tagged everybody, so hopefully the people that want to join can join. But regardless, we apologize.
I mean, the stream will still be up later at least. So
very true.
There's that.
Very true. I was like, is it?
I was confused.
Oh, goodness.
But it's fine. Thanks to everybody who's now early.
Oh, goodness. No, the different time zones between me and Katie, sometimes they really get us. Sometimes
honestly,
they really get us.
You moving to Florida has really caused some issues.
Listen, for you and me both, okay?
Like for me, you're putting all the live show times in the wrong time zone. And obviously it's only about what matters for me, so.
Oh, clearly.
Yeah.
Big apologies.
Thank you. Do we have anything else to talk about? I feel like
I don't know.
Not much to like update you guys on.
Not much.
Just kind of chilling. Have you done anything fun recently, Cass?
Work.
So, no.
All I do is work.
Well, I went to see Moulin Rouge this weekend.
Ooh.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I loved it, but it was I liked the music. Plot was lacking. The music was good though, because it's like a jukebox musical.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like modern songs. It's like, that's interesting.
Very fun.
I liked it.
Yeah. I have plans sometime to see Wolverine and Deadpool. I just haven't got around to doing that. But it's on my to-do list of like things I'll eventually do, hopefully before it leaves the theater.
Yeah.
I did that with Barbie. I was like, oh, I'll eventually see it, and then I still haven't seen it to this day.
I still can't believe you haven't seen Barbie. It was such a moment last summer.
It was, and I just wasn't a part of it.
You'll see it eventually, maybe, if you want to.
One of these days. Katie's coming to visit me soon. That's
true.
An exciting thing up on the docket.
That will be very fun. Get to go hang out in the like 95-degree heat.
I swear, if you complain about the weather one time, I'm putting your butt back on the plane.
Oh, you already know I'm going to be complaining about the weather constantly.
I know.
I'm not going to rein it in.
It's so funny, though, because, like, it's freezing in my house, and all we do is stay indoors, so we'll be fine.
Yeah.
I, like, literally am, like, curled up in a fuzzy blanket because I'm, like, freezing.
What's your favorite country that you've been to so far, Cass? I haven't been to too many.
Japan. That wasn't for work. That was just a personal trip I took last year. I've only really been, like, country-wise to the Dominican Republic for work. So...
Very nice.
Yeah. Which I'm not a big fan of, like, the island trips. Not because, like, the islands are, like, bad. Just, like, the people that fly to the DR, I'm like, y'all are annoying. But it's so funny because it's, like, something I didn't realize when, like, you're flying certain routes is, like, oh, like, this route will be really good and this route won't be that fun. Or, like, this route's really annoying because it's full of, like, really annoying people. So.
You're just learning the tricks of the trade.
Yeah, basically. I really wanted to read the book, and then I read exactly 0 pages. Oh, no.
Honestly, it happens to the best of us.
It does.
We will be talking spoilers very soon, Anna, so be careful.
Be wary. You annotated the book this go around, right?
I did, and it is beautiful. Little sneak peek. Look at her.
I love it. I mean, I don't annotate that much, but I did. You can barely see. Wow. Okay. You can kind of see.
Annotation tour.
It's mostly stupid things. Actually, I just underlined for the most part. I didn't really write notes, but I never had, like, that much to say where my annotation's like filling up the whole spine.
I had things to say. Lots of things to say.
Which means that Katie's going to be leading this discussion. She has all the things.
Katie is not good at leading book club discussion. Don't ask me why I'm not good at leading discussions and we have a book club. We don't have to talk about that. Did your rating change for this book on a reread?
Nope.
Mine did
not. I
not.
think it went higher.
I think mine went higher too. It's like she is transcended.
She's transcended the 5.
Yeah. She's like a 6-star read.
My dad reads nonfiction and Star Wars, and I got him to read Mistborn, and he finished the whole thing yesterday and called me mad. I have been trying to get my dad to read Mistborn. Oh my gosh, I should send him the book. It was his birthday the other day, and I sent him a card, but I told him I would buy his first book. So
tell him I said happy belated birthday.
Huh?
Tell him I said happy belated birthday.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
I was actually really proud of my card. So, you know the like Microsoft crash where it's like, sorry, we're just collecting updates.
Mm-hmm.
I basically had the card like that because I was gonna send it to him, but then I got called for a trip, so I didn't have time to finish making it. So it's like late. So I it's like, sorry.
That's cute.
Please see a previous card for like kind remarks and gift details.
I feel like you always make the best cards, like for your dad. You've shown me a couple of them.
I try. No, yeah, his last one No, his last one was really good too. It was based off Formula One. So, because like I'm able to do like funny cards with him. I feel like with my mom, I want to give like heartfelt, like I love you so much, like you're the best. With my dad, I'm like I love you, and you get my sense of humor with my cards.
Yeah.
Good morning. I'm only a little late, and I actually read the book this time. Woo! Go Stephanie.
Good job.
Actually, you're right on time because 10-minute mark has begun, which means we're entering the spoiler zone.
It's time. If you haven't read the Final Empire, Mistborn, whatever you want to call it,
get out of here.
Shoot. Go on.
But return when you have read the book. Yeah. It'll be up on my channel. You know, you just can't unless you want to get spoiled. In which case, like,
yeah, I mean,
stay away.
That's your prerogative.
Not stay away, but like, you can stay.
Yeah.
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 Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
What do we all rate it?
What's the rating?
You already know me and Cass. Transcendent ratings over here.
Transcending ratings. 5 stars. Above 5 stars, even.
6 stars.
6 stars.
5
stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. This was my 3rd Cosmere novel, and I really loved it. My favorite one so far. 3 stars.
Who gave it a 3-star? Jail.
4.5.
I jest.
Okay. This makes me happy.
Solid ratings. I feel like I've yet to see somebody like really dislike Mistborn. They truly dislike it.
Yeah.
Although I was gonna say, if anybody gave it a 1 star, drop it in the chat. I'd love to know.
No, literally, like, let us know why.
Yeah, so I can berate you. I just.
All right, so overall, pretty high, which
Solid.
Makes us really happy. We love when y'all enjoy the book club picks, and obviously we're gonna continue the series, so we're happy that the first book has been so well received.
I'm very excited to jump into the next one. I'm gonna see if my thoughts on it change any.
I hope it does. I need to get more tabs. I kind of demolished my blue tabs.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna annotate the 2nd or 3rd ones because this was a lot.
You're just so extra when you annotate. I genuinely am baffled.
If I'm gonna annotate, I'm gonna go for it because it's always really fun when I go for it. I don't want to just like casually annotate a book. I'm like for me, I'm like that's just not a thing. So I probably won't annotate the 2nd or 3rd ones. But this one was a good time.
All right, where do we even begin with this?
I don't even know, honestly. I feel like there's a lot that we can possibly discuss, talk about.
There is just so much.
Yeah.
Character-wise, maybe we can talk about favorite characters.
I love Vin as our main character. She's great. She's a badass, but I also really like that she has those moments where she's like acting like a 16-year-old girl and like doing some things that are a little bit silly. I'm like, why are you doing that? But like also I completely understand why you're doing this. And I feel like it kind of takes her down from that like Mistborn level from her like
it makes her human.
Yeah, like really humanizes her. I like that a lot.
Absolutely. And I love that she has her flaws and she has her moments. And absolutely, you know, sometimes she does do things that you're like, what are you doing, girly? And you're like, oh my gosh, like this girl is 16.
Yeah.
With so much pressure and responsibility. And like anyone could crack under that pressure and anyone could just hate the world. But I love how she's slowly gaining people's trust, or slowly learning to trust people, especially after her brother, what she thought happened to her brother. And that big reveal was just like, oh my gosh, like he didn't do the thing that Vin thought he did, or she did. He did? She did. You know what I'm saying.
I literally forgot like what the situation like with her brother. I was like, oh. See, even second reread, new information.
Absolutely. Now, what did we think about Kelsier? Because he's such an interesting character. I remember my first read, I like loved him. I was like, oh my gosh, Kelsier. And then when he died, I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Read around, I had a little bit less, how do I say this? Like, I didn't love him as much as I did in the first book. Like, Vin took all, like, my heart and soul. But Kelsier, he's very interesting and he has a lot of depth, I feel like. And his character What do I want to say?
He's very morally gray. Even though, like, he's doing the right thing, there are times when he's not always. Did my thing freeze?
Temporarily.
Oh, okay. Because, you know, like, he's working for, like, a good cause, but, like, the way he's going about it, you're kind of like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with this. Like, the general message, sure, but, like, him just unabashedly wanting to murder, like, every single nobleman, I was like, maybe you should, like, take 3 seconds and think about it a little bit. But he's very charismatic. I'll give him that. He's a great leader. He's just not always doing the right thing.
And I think that's what made him so interesting too, because how charismatic he was. You want to think of him as like completely on like as a good guy, but he is so morally gray, and it's so interesting reading about someone who is so charismatic being morally gray. Because I feel like most books, the one that pops up to my mind the most is like the Poppy War with Rin. She's like morally gray, and she's not charismatic in the slightest. So it's like a big juxtaposition between the two, where they're both morally gray, and yet one is more likable than the other.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to like remind yourself, like, you know, he has his justifications, but that doesn't really make it right.
Yeah.
Regardless. And I like how Vin kind of brought the best out of him, and how he kind of ended up viewing Vin as a daughter and as like the daughter that Mare always wanted. Oh, I know. When he mentioned that Mare and him always wanted a daughter, I was like, oh.
No, I was like, bitch, stab me in the heart, why don't you? Because I can't handle it. And, like, I knew what was coming, so I was like, this makes it even worse. But I love his and Vin's dynamic throughout this whole book. I feel like they bring out the best in each other. And, like, he's kind of acting as, like, a parental kind of figure that Rin never really had. I mean, I know she had her mother, but, like, we don't have to talk about her.
Yeah, her mother who almost killed her, that one?
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that's like the best role model, but I just love like how their dynamic develops over the course of this book and how much they grow to like care about each other and trust each other. I just feel like it's really well written. And I love the mentor-mentee relationship that they have. I think it's really well done.
Absolutely. And it was, you know, sad to see at the end when like he did die and Rin kind of almost went back into her little like hermit hole of like, oh my gosh, everyone I ever loved leaves me, like I can't trust anybody. But then still having like Elend kind of, you know, bring out the best in her, as well as the rest of the crew, to kind of keep her from falling back into her old habits after Cosmere died, I think was just really touching.
I think her kind of like slowly becoming like a more integral part of the group and slowly becoming friends with like everybody that's in the crew is another part of this book that I really like. Because you kind of see at the beginning, like the crew has this like banter thing going on, and Vin's kind of like watching from the outside. But like as the book progresses, she like starts to trust all of them more. She kind of has like a, I wouldn't really call them a found family. It's like a pseudo found family kind of thing almost for her, and I like that a lot.
Absolutely. And she's able to take away and learn things from all the different people.
Yeah, her like training with each and every one of them, I think that was it was a good way to like explain things about the magic system while also like allowing them to like get to know each other and trust each other. It's just so well done.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that I think Brandon Sanderson did really, really well in this book, was explain the magic and explain the politics where it's not info dumpy, and like the conversations that are being had make sense. I think that's the benefit of having like a character that hasn't been part of this world. So you're not getting random like exposés and like info dumps about how the magic system works, because our main character already knows how. But because Vin was clueless on like everything, basically, like every interaction with the character, she got to learn more about the magic system. And we got to learn about like, okay, you know, how allomancy works, but then to really hone in with each character and explain like that type of allomancy, I think was so cool. And then bringing Sazed into it, we got more of like the religious aspects as well as just like the political everything when she needed to be trained to go to these balls. Yeah. So it was just so cleverly done by
I feel like
Brando Sando.
There's never a point in his books where I feel like it's info dumping. I just feel like he always knows how to deliver the information to you in a way that like is very natural and like you're just learning along with the character. I think it's great.
Absolutely. scrolling up here because we missed a bunch while we were yammering back and forth. Ooh. People are like still waiting for Kelsier to come back. I feel that when I first read the book, I was like, he's not dead.
No, literally.
Oh, he's faking.
I was like, this is just part of his scheme. Like, he's so crafty.
Literally.
And I was like, oh shit.
Oh, he's gone. His vengeance for his wife was so real, though. Honestly. I think my favorite scenes during this whole book were Kel and Vin practicing her elemancy.
I feel like those scenes are just always so fun.
So good. The one that really sticks out to me is when he's like, just jump. And he like just leaves her and she's like, crap. Like, no, I have to jump.
No, like I put myself in that situation. I'm like, would I be able to just like jump off of this wall? The answer is no.
Right? Especially like not knowing. Like, yes, he was like, I'll catch you. You know, like don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
But still, like the absolute trust to just like leave everything you know about, you know, the real world and be like, all right, if I jump off this massive wall, I'm not going to just splat on the ground.
I loved when Kelsier revealed that, like, when his kind of, the guy that was mentoring her, or him, he had to, like, push him off the wall. I was like, that's what would have to happen with me. Like, I would have to physically be forced off of this wall. So good for Vin for, like, actually doing it.
But, like, 16-year-olds are built different, okay?
Honestly, I don't think I was. Like, I probably was a little more stupid when I was 16, but, like, not stupid enough to jump off a wall just because the student told me to.
I grew up doing competitive gymnastics, and, like, looking back at what I used to do as a kid, I'm like, yeah, I totally would have jumped off that wall.
Just
like, okay. I was like, I was doing backflips on a 4-inch platform. I think a wall was, like, the least intimidating thing.
Physics be damned.
The scene where Kelsier died and also his fight with the Inquisitor was amazing. Probably the best fight scene I've ever read. No, literally.
So good. Like, the part where the Inquisitor, like, pushes the, I don't know, cart thing, and Kelsier's, like, spinning around inside of it so it doesn't, like, crush it.
Yes.
Like, so freaking cool.
Absolutely. And, like, just the Alancy, I think, leads to some really, really cool fight scenes because they're so unique. And I want this to be like an animated show or something because
it would be so good. I just want any of Brandon Sanderson's work to be adapted.
I'm baffled at how it's not.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if he's had like negotiations, but he wants the creative freedom where they're actually following his novel. And like a lot of studios don't want to do that. So I'm wondering if he's like waiting for the right one to finally like give it justice. Because we see so many, like the ACOTAR, right? That's been sold. Those rights have been sold, but like the director just stepped away or the producer just stepped away recently. So now there's delays. And by the time they make it, like the hype's going to die down or it's just going to be like shitty in production.
Yeah.
So.
But I feel like Brandon Sanderson won't let an adaptation of his be shitty.
Yeah.
I have complete faith that it will happen and it will be great.
We just have to be patient.
Yeah.
Patience? We just have to have patience and be patient.
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson fight scenes are unmatched. They really are. Like in all of his books, especially just because of the magic that he creates. It's just so different and so unique versus just like a typical, I feel like.
I don't really like reading like fight scenes or like action scenes for the most part in like other fantasy books. I'm kind of just like, can I like skim in? I'm like, oh, this person dies, whatever. But with Brandon Sanderson books, I'm always like, I'm sat, I'm ready. They're always so cool. I always get like so excited and like into them in a way that I just don't get into like any other books.
And the stakes are so high too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like generalizing a lot of books, like most authors I feel like are pretty scared to kill off any characters that are super likable because, you know, they've built them up and they want to have them in future novels and stuff. And I feel like Brandon Sanderson just doesn't care. He's like, oh, you like this character. Cool. Guess what? They're a goner.
Bye.
Like he's not afraid to really like make these books realistic where it's like they don't have that, what's the word that I'm looking for? Invincibility almost. They are like vulnerable and can be killed.
They're very fallible. They're not invincible.
Fallible, thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
No regard for our feelings. That's true in so many aspects in Brandon Sanderson books, I feel. Because
Absolutely.
not only does he put them through it, like, when they're fighting, he just puts them through it in general. He likes to make his characters suffer. I feel like it's not as bad as in this book, even though, like, the characters are obviously going through it. But, like, some of his books, I'm like, damn, how could you write this? In the best
But it's
possible
so cool to see, like, the characters go through it and come out stronger on the other end. Like, I think it's a good, like, it's good symbolism for just getting knocked down and, you know, getting back up again.
Oh, I feel like that's definitely what makes me really root for the characters. Like when you see them at the lowest low, and then he always brings them back up to like a super high point, and you're just like so excited about it.
They make these characters that are so like powerful and all magical. He makes them feel human and relatable, which I feel like is so hard to do because if you have these like overpowered characters, sometimes you can feel a little disattached because they're like almost godlike with what they can do. So to have them where you can relate to it as just a person, it's lovely. Especially like her romance too with Ellen. Like when I first read this, and even this time, I like when she said "I love you," I was like, "Girlie, calm down."
No, literally. Honestly, I think her like romance thing with Ellen is really cute. And I do like it a lot. But when she was like, "I love him," I was like, calm down like 2 seconds. But like I get it. And I feel like that kind of like what are you doing feeling just adds like so much to her as a character. You're like, oh man, she's making some choices.
To be fair though, I don't think she's ever had someone that she truly has like loved to compare it to. Because her brother, she loved in almost like a toxic way where, you know, he beat her, he was just not a great brother, but she was like, no, he's my brother, like he's my blood, so I have to love him. So it almost felt like an obligation versus now I feel like Kelsier and Ellen are the two like very first people that she's actually just genuinely like cared about and loved. And so just the quickness of it was like, oh yeah, she's so 16.
Yeah. And I just love that. Because Vin as a character does feel very OP sometimes. Because there's like, oh yeah, she's like great at Allomancy. It's only been like 4 months. She knows everything. I'm like, all right, sure. I honestly don't remember if there's a reason for that or not, but like it does kind of, she's kind of like at a different level. And you're kind of just like, I don't know if I can like relate to her in like that way, but like there are a lot of things that like you can relate to her.
Absolutely.
About whatever the right word would be there.
Ellen as a character too, I really love because he really is just a dreamer with a little bit of a disconnect from how the world works, but he's asking the right questions and he's gonna get there in the end, I hope. From what I recall, I hope. But he just has such an interesting, right, because he's so disattached from like the world that Vin grew up in and just reality in general. Yet as he learns about it, I feel like he's not completely losing his faith in humanity. He's like, no, like we can turn this around, like we can solve it, we can bring the world together, we can rebuild. And his dad wanting to kill him, that scene hurt so bad. I was like, oh, he just tried to assassinate you. Let's open your eyes.
Honestly, I love Ellen as a character. I think he's just such an interesting like point of view to add in like towards the end too, like when you really start to understand like what his role in the series is going to be. And I feel like he kind of, he doesn't really like step into Kelsier's role, but like he's going to like, you know, kind of help to continue what Kelsier was trying to do with Finn. And it's really interesting to see what his role is in the rest of the series as well. But I think this does a good job like setting it up and like allowing you to understand like what he's doing and why he's doing it. So I just think, sorry, Winnie wants in. Just like bangs on my door. I lost my train of thought.
I was scrolling up through the comments that we missed, and Charlotte said, now that I've reread it, I finally noticed Hoyd. And that is something that I got really excited about too. I was like, that's my man Hoyd! Because the first time I read Mistborn, the only book I had read previously was Warbreaker. So now that I know Hoyd is like a bigger part in all of this, I was like, what are you doing here?
No, I think I had no clue who Hoyd was like when I first read this book either. And I was like, I don't know, like this man of no significance. I don't know him.
It was brought up just out of the blue. I'm like, Why are you making this character feel important when they're just kind of here?
Yeah. But this time around, I was like, oh my god, it's Hoyd! I just love his little cameos.
Cameo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe because her father was one of the more powerful Allomancers. That's why she's on a different level. Perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember if it's explained or not in like later books.
Yeah, I can't remember if it is either.
Or if she's just, you know, main character vibes.
She's special. She's Vin.
My favorite part was Kelsier's letter to Vin. I was sobbing, especially the part, farewell. I'll tell Mare about you. She always wanted a daughter. Nah, for real.
I was like, I didn't cry, but like my eyes, they were watering. I was like, I can't do this right now. It's like crying on a reread. What's that about?
I know this Hoyd too because I read Trust recently, and I know he appears in a lot of the Cosmere books. These are the only 2 Cosmere books I've read, though, so I was like, let me note this down for later.
Mm-hmm. I put like little
he's everywhere,
like dog ears on the parts where like Hoyd pops up in books. I'm like, just for reference. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but like just for reference. But I feel like this time around there were like so many other things that I noticed, like relating to the Cosmere magic, whatever as a whole. That like the first time around, no significance, no thoughts in my head at all. But like there were things that I was picking up on. I was like, oh, maybe this is this, and like this thing is this, and I thought that was really fun.
That's like the joy also of like reading the Cosmere, and I've yet to read further into Stormlight, and I feel like that's like the bulk of what you need to know about the Cosmere, and I just still haven't got around to doing it. But in the meantime, I'll just reread all the other books that I've read.
Yeah, I feel like all the Cosmere books have crazy rereadability because there are just so many things that you miss on a first read, no matter like what order you read them in. So like being able to reread this, I was like, this is so cool.
That's why I'm always telling people not to like stress out over what order to read them in. I feel like you can really read them in any order because if you ever return to them, you're going to notice new things.
Yeah.
And you're going to make new connections and you're going to like piece together things bit by bit. Absolutely. God, these are just a joy to read.
Yeah, they're so good.
Apparently, he was saying in interviews talking about like adaptations that he is waiting to make sure it can be done the way he wants. He said he turned down a lot. Apparently he wants to make it that he can connect his adaptations the way he does with his Cosmere. Era 2 was officially being adapted and then the writer's strike happened and it fell through. Whoops. Yeah, I'm not surprised because he has his universe and things connect in such specific ways that if the writers decide to just like take creative liberties, like that can mess up like things like domino effect all the way down the line. So I'm not surprised at all that he's like, no, we're going to need a decent adaptation. It's going to need to be like a 3-hour long Marvel sized movie.
Like I'd be so sad. I'd be so ready. I want it so bad.
Yeah. And I think he'll do it justice because it's going to make money. Like a bunch of people are interested in this. Like I don't think that like directors and writers and stuff like really understand like the scope of how big Brandon Sanderson is. Like he's like the author making the most amount of money. Like he sold the most amount of copies of books. Like he is insane. He's on a different level. And I don't think they're really connecting the dots. No. They're over here adapting Colleen Hoover.
We'll get the adaptation eventually. I have complete faith. Someone asked if it's okay to read Warbreaker before the Well of Ascension. I think I did. So
yeah, Warbreaker was my first Cosmere book.
Yeah. I don't know if there are too many connections between that one and Mistborn, really.
I don't think so. Not that I recall, but I read that a while ago.
It has been a minute.
That was a book club book, actually, of March?
Yeah. March of last year?
22?
That was last year.
No, it wasn't. That was 2 years ago. Because I was living at my old apartment then, and that was 2022.
No, it was last year.
What?
2023.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. It was March 2023.
Are you sure?
Yes. Because I was living at my last apartment.
Oh, you know what? I moved out of my apartment in April, so I guess that checks out. Fair enough.
It's like, I don't think it's been that long. I don't even think we knew each other that early in 2022.
That's when we first knew each other, was March 2022.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't know. Anyways. I couldn't help but laugh every time Ellen called Vin is it Valette or Valet?
Valette.
Valette. Even towards the end. No, that was cracking me up too. Because I'm like, someone needs to tell her. And then all of like, I don't remember who it was. Part of Kelsier's crew was like, she's fine. Like, get out or like leave or whatever.
Like, no, that was Kelsier when he was like fighting the Inquisitor. He was just like telling Ellen, like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, she is fine.
He was dedicated though. I respect it. I respect it.
Yeah.
I was watching Daniel Green and he was talking about if it's done right, it can be MCU level. 100%. 100%.
That'd be so cool. I mean, I don't care about the MCU, but I would care about this.
No, literally. Because it's like superhero movie, but different, you know? And I feel like we, as a society, have had too many superhero movies. So we need something different, fantasy related on that level, you know?
Yeah, I feel like so many fantasy things are just like so incredibly dark. Like they saw what's the series? Game of Thrones, and they were like, "Oh, this is good stuff right here." So they're just like trying to make more Game of Thrones type things. But I'm like, make more stuff like this.
Yeah. Even like the shows that they do make though, they cancel. Like Shadow and Bone. I'm sorry, that was good. Even when they strayed away from like the plot line of the books, I loved season 2. That was still so fun.
Like, do you know how many people would have eaten up like a dedicated Six of Crows adaptation? So many people.
They just don't know their audience.
I feel like Netflix just loves to cancel things.
No,
they're like, oh, it's not
good things, and they
like,
put
oh,
out
it's not performing at the top. Canceled. Bye. We don't need you.
Literally. Oh.
Jail.
Well, it's cheaper to produce, you know, trash TV, you know, reality dating shows and just like low quality movies, and they just build their own hype around them for, you know, they get the hours and it's cheaper to produce than like fantasy shows, you know.
Nobody needed Tall Girl 2. We
all nobody needed that.
Gross.
Golly. Did we really need a Ever After Happy and an After Ever Happy and Ever Happy After?
I don't even think they're done making those movies. I mean, I can't lie, I've seen them all, but like...
Oh my gosh. Apparently it's for not major money. I doubt it, you know, it's not about the money for him. Like I said, like he is the most like sold author in the world, I'm fairly certain, or at least like in the top, you know. So he doesn't need the money, but I know he's like really protective over his creations for good reason.
Yeah. I mean, to craft something this intricate.
Yeah.
You can't even imagine.
We don't get enough fantasy shows. And it's so sad too, because we're finally at the point where CGI and FX can look really good and really realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we do get things where the shows have really beautiful CGI and graphics and stuff, they like butcher the original story. Don't even get me started on a live action Avatar.
I haven't even seen it. I haven't even seen normal Avatar.
Don't even. We'll get to that. We will get to that because that's still. Whew, we need to fix that. Ooh. But like, I feel like writers these days are just not in tune with the creations that they're recreating. Like, we have so many recreations, and I hate it. But then they butcher the good ones.
Yeah.
Anyways, I feel like we always talk about book to movie adaptations when we get on a rant.
Yeah, well, like everybody wants a book to movie adaptation, but like they never do the good stuff.
No. If this one was ever made into a movie, I wonder which actor would play Kelsier. I guess it just depends on like how long it takes for Brandon to like greenlight something.
Yeah.
You know? Because we're gonna have. I wonder if they'll do. It'd be really cool if they did like unknown people. Because as much as I love like a lot of actors and stuff, like seeing them in multiple things, sometimes it's hard to like get into the story, right? That's why I liked Shadow and Bone so much too, because I hadn't seen most of these actors. I mean, sure, Ben Barnes was in like Narnia and stuff, but like
he's not like I feel like if you asked a lot of people, you wouldn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
before Shadow and
So
Bone.
you're really able to like see the characters in that role, and that was cool. One Piece was a perfect example of how to do it properly. I've heard good things about One Piece, but I also know the creator was heavily involved.
Yeah.
And look, it was well received. Like Avatar, the creators literally stepped away because they had creative differences. So like that was a red flag that they were just waving.
Kind of crazy that they were gonna adapt Era 2 before 1. Yeah, that makes no sense.
That is really interesting. And I wonder if it has to do with producing it would have been, I feel like, easier because it's not too many special effects. I feel like it's more like catered towards what people like with like action movies.
It does definitely feel more actiony, like an action movie.
Especially with like all the gunfights mixed with the magic and stuff. And
I guess like in Era 2, they kind of talk about like the events of Era 1 as like a very distinct kind of like mythology, religion-y kind of thing. So it could act as like a prequel to Era 2. But like people don't like Era 2 as much as they like Era 1. So I'm like, why wouldn't you do Era 1 first? Yeah. Like, I get that it would be harder, but I feel like the payoff in the end would be better.
And I think too, it would be harder to convert new fans of Era, like if they just watch Era 2 and then you want them to go back and like watch Era 1, like it's completely different tones versus 1 to 2. Yes, it's completely different tones, but like the people that know it's gonna switch that way versus like vice versa.
Yeah,
like it's two different types of adaptations.
It seems like an odd way to do it.
Yeah, more grounded and very like buddy cop.
It kind of is.
Yeah, honestly.
Love them though.
I want to do a reread of those. I want to give them another chance.
I've contemplated, like after we finish this trilogy, rereading Era 2.
You only read it like the beginning of this year.
I know, but it's so good.
Oh my goodness.
I just love Era 2. I'm so late, literally just finished it.
Oh no.
Welcome.
We've been like ranting about movie adaptations for the past 10 minutes, so.
And said I think Henry Cavill should be in Mistborn. He's also a fan of the Cosmere. I feel like I've heard somebody say that Henry Cavill should play like every single Brandon Sanderson character. And I think it's
the Dark Ruler.
Literally. I mean, they do describe the Lord Ruler as like handsome like 4 times. So I'm like, obviously he's kind of hot. He's evil, but he's hot.
Like, I don't know if I could ever picture him as hot though.
Like Henry Cavill?
The Dark Ruler.
Oh.
I'm like, no,
Are you sure?
He is he's textbook good looking.
He really is, yeah. No, but like they describe him as handsome like 3 times throughout this book, and like I really noticed it this time. I was like, oh, so he's fine. I'm kidding.
I guess I just missed that part because he's just so evil.
Yeah, but like I just thought it was so odd. I was like, don't forget he's hot, but he's evil.
What did we think about him and like the reveal behind his character using Almensi and God, the word just escaped me.
Fearchemy?
Fearchemy?
I think it's Fearchemy.
Fearchemy?
I listened to the audiobook and I still don't remember how to pronounce it.
I like in the same way that I was like, Kelsier's not dead. I was like convinced. I was like, the Lord Ruler's not dead. Like, there's no way.
Shriveling on the floor over there. He's gone.
He's gone. I picture the Lord Ruler as Jafar from Aladdin.
No, I feel like sometimes when I read books, I just get like the most unhinged like image of like a character in my mind, and I just can't stop. Like there are multiple characters that I imagine as looking like Hans from Frozen for whatever reason. And I can't, my brain won't stop.
No, that's funny. Oh my goodness.
See, what did everyone think of Vin using the 11th metal? I feel like it was kind of anticlimactic, frankly.
Very.
Yeah. I was like, I like, I understand the point of like introducing the 11th metal and like allowing Kelsier to like talk about it and give people a reason to like trust in whatever he's doing, but like so it got to Vin actually using it and I was like there are better metals.
Yeah, no, literally.
Does anybody have a favorite metal?
I was literally just gonna ask that, and then I was like, do I have a favorite metal? That was my goal. This reread was to find what my favorite metal would be.
I think for myself, I need to remember which one it is.
There's a big list in the front, right?
There's one in the back.
Goes in the back.
I think for myself, I don't know if this is my favorite, but I would really want pewter, because Vin was talking about how she like burned a little pewter so she would stop like sweating or something, like by exerting herself. I was like, I'm a sweaty gal. I could use some pewter, like just walking around.
That's such a specific reason.
No, I was like, when she like brought it up, I was like, oh my god, that's so smart. I don't think that's my favorite metal, but like that's what I would want for myself.
No, that's so funny. You're like, I'm a sweaty girl. Oh my goodness. I think brass would be cool, like to be a soother.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but that I don't know. I feel like I would abuse it too much, you know, like. But I think it'd be really helpful for my job. Just like calm everyone down. Yeah. I had this old man yell at me on the plane the other day, and I just could just like chill out. It's not the end of the world. Be at peace.
Although I think like if I had to choose, I'm gonna choose like two favorite metals, and obviously it's steel and iron.
Yeah.
That's so, like, how could it not be?
You can like bounce around.
Yeah, I mean, like the little like highway thing that they have between like Luthadel and Felice, I think. It's like, that's so cool.
I like. It sounds so cool, but also like picturing them, all I can see is like bunny rabbits just like hopping. And like, you know, imagine you're just like, I don't know, like in a high story building, you're just like hanging out your laundry, and then like goes bouncing by.
Yeah.
I would want to use pewter so I could be a long, better distance runner. No, when they like did the pewter drag, when they were just like running for, what was it, like 17 hours straight or something crazy?
Something crazy. I felt for her in that moment. I was like, I can't even run for like 3 minutes without dying. Like, I can't imagine how she is doing.
Bronze. I have to keep like looking at it, even though like I like know them. I just can't remember what like associated metal goes with them off the top of my head.
I feel like the only ones I remember off the top of my head are like iron, steel, and tin.
Yeah. Yeah, the rest I'm like, wait, which one is which one?
Yeah.
Pewters I can get stronger in the gym, steel and iron all the way. I got fatigued just reading that.
No, literally. I liked her. She was like, I'm gonna die. I just know I'm gonna die. While she's just like running. It's like, that is me every time I'm on the treadmill. Me and Vin are so alike.
I hate cardio. Stephanie said, I kept thinking that somehow she would use both gold and the 11th metal for like her past self to kill his past self or something, and then nothing happened. I thought something more epic was going to happen with that too.
Yeah.
Because the way they kind of like built it up, obviously, and then when we learned it was more just like Kelsier creating a legend for people would, you know, rebel and like have the strength to rebel. I was like, that's cool and all, but like, can't we have something happen?
Do something with the 11th metal.
I was kind of relieved that the Lord Ruler wasn't the same guy who wrote the journal, because the journal guy seems so sweet and insecure, and it made me sad to think of him turning evil.
I think it's just so smart that ended up happening.
Absolutely.
Because you go through the whole book and you're like, obviously this is the Lord Ruler, how did he get so evil? But then you're like, oh, it's the Pac-Man. I was like, oh shit. First time around, obviously. But like the second time around, honestly, I wasn't 100% sure at first. I didn't like 100% remember. And then like once it started going, I was like, oh no, I see where this is going.
Yeah, it was really hard though, like throughout the book to read about the Lord, like what the Lord Ruler was writing, and like, yeah, his insecurities and how he wasn't sure like if this was the right path, but he was willing to, you know, make the sacrifice. And you almost started feeling empathetic towards him, and you're like, wait, like he's so evil. Like it feels like such a switch. Like I wonder really what happens at the Well of Ascension. And then when it was revealed that it was actually the Pac-Man, it was like, hold on.
Wow.
Unfortunately, wouldn't be able to use the magic system considering I am allergic to everything but gold.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. And then gold is like a fairly, not a wonderful metal, I feel like. I don't think, the gold is the one where you can see your past self, right? Or is it your future self? It's your future, no past. Because
Man, I wrote this down yesterday, but I don't know where it is.
It's in the book, isn't it?
I think they only do like the 8 basic ones.
Well, that's disrespectful. Why is my alarm going off?
Oh, you see version of another possible life that you could live, so future.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. ATM is the one I was looking for. That was the future.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like so cool. Like, again, if we had an adaptation, those fight scenes will be unmatched.
Like, Mistborn has like my favorite fight scenes of anything that I've ever read. Just because there's so many things you can possibly do with allomancy and so many like cool ways that you can use it. I just feel like the whole time I'm reading, I'm like, oh, that's so sick. And then like 3 pages later, I'm like, oh, that's so sick.
I will say I do really like Warbreaker's fight scenes too. With like the colors and like controlling certain objects, and like I remember I think it was the opening scene of that one where this one character like threw up a guard on the ceiling and like moved a pike to be like vertical and just let the dude drop, and I was like,
oh no, that's the Way of Kings.
That's the Way of Kings?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Warbreaker I know also has it opens in prison, doesn't it? But there's a fight scene straight away in that one too. Brandon Sanderson just knows how to make some good fight scenes. And like usually those are kind of, again, we kind of skim them. You're like, oh, okay, they're punching each other. This person dies, whatever. But I feel like Brandon Sanderson just ensnares me so well.
Yeah, because he knows like how to use his magic systems in a very engaging way.
Absolutely.
Not only are they cool on their own, but like fighting with them is even cooler.
Absolutely. I feel like some minor plot points were overdone and some things that should have been more major ended up being underwhelming. I can see that. And I wonder if that's going to be, expanded upon in the second book, where those like seemingly minor plot points end up being like a more major thing, and maybe the major things crop back up to have like a better resolution. So, but I can definitely see that. I think there was like one chunk of the book that was like really, really slow near, I don't remember exactly where it was. It was somewhere in the middle. I think that was like in between Vin going to like the balls and stuff. There was like only one section of this book that I felt like really dragged, but it never was like dragged to the point where I wanted to just like put it down because I was bored. It was just like I realized I wasn't annotating as often. I was like, oh.
No, I think there were definitely parts in this book that I was like, I could read this a little bit faster. Like, we can just get through this. I was really just waiting for Vin to go to more balls because I love Vin in the court. I just think it's so entertaining.
Absolutely.
That's like one of my favorite plot points of this entire book is like her just like going to all these balls. I just think it's so fun. Like seeing her interact with polite society, such a concept, such a good concept.
So good. Absolutely. I feel like something we need to talk about is I can't remember the creature's name. The one that impersonated the Lord.
The Conjurer.
The Conjurer.
Conjurer is I don't like that concept.
It is just like so gross but so cool.
Yeah. No, but like at the end when he like was impersonating Kelsier, and Vin was like, "Oh my god, Kelsier!" I was like, "Don't do that to her! Like, why would you do that to her?"
To think about. Ugh. But so cool.
Yeah.
Again, like another cool thing in this universe.
Yeah, and I feel like there are other like cool kind of creatures that crop up in Mistborn as well, like with the stuff that happens in the second and third books with the Kolos. They're like mentioned in this book, but you get to like see them.
Whoa. Y'all are gonna get to see them.
I don't like those either.
The way this ended, I'm like, what's gonna happen for the rest of the trilogy? Yeah. Things happen. But I definitely can tell like this I feel like almost resolves pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like the whole like building back up of the empire they just overthrew, as well as building more conflicts that are gonna pop up.
Like the first time I read this book, I think I said it in the video. I was like, this kind of feels like it could be a standalone almost. Like there are unresolved things, but like at the end of this book, you're kind of like, this happened, and like theoretically, you could stop there, but like it does escalate crazy amounts in like the second and third books.
Absolutely. Marsh is a character we have not talked about, and his character arc is crazy.
I thought like the foreshadowing with Marsh, I thought was really interesting because in the like beginning they talk about how his nickname is Iron Eyes, and he becomes a steel Inquisitor with like the friggin' bolts. I was like, that's genius. There's so much foreshadowing in this book that I was like picking up on this time around. I was like,
absolutely. No, and that's another fun thing about, rereading these is when you do know what's going to happen. Like the foreshadowing.
There was so much foreshadowing in this book.
Much.
Like when Seizu would always like talk about the religion and they'd be like, oh yeah. Then you'd like talk about like somebody dying for like the religion to like get going or whatever. I was like,
and that's the one he was interested in. Okay, yeah.
I was like, stop. Why is he asking about it so much? Like, that's weird behavior, Kelsier.
The Candor is what convinced Kelsier, or is what convinced that Kelsier was actually dead, because I was in such denial until that thing was like, oh yeah, I absorbed his body. I'm sorry. What?
No, like when I first read this, I was like, there's no way that man is dead. But alas.
Yep.
See, the Inquisitor is something I would not want to see in an adaptation because it sounds creepy. And you should look up like images of them, like fan art that people.
I don't think I've actually seen fan art of them.
Really? They're
live reaction.
They're kind of funny looking. But I feel like the Inquisitors are like more scary than the Lord Ruler even is.
I don't like it. No, they kind of are goofy looking.
Yeah, they gotta. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Oh. But that would be so creepy to see. Oh, goodness.
Oh, it'd be so cool, though.
They kind of... Hold on. I don't know why, but, like, I think it's, like, the bald head and, like, just, like, circles for eyes, but they, like, remind me of Dr. Eggman. Like, I think it's just the bald head with, like, they're not goggles, they're, like, nails.
Like, they look like goggles.
Glasses,
Yeah. I said I've seen a 3D model of a rubber duck steel Inquisitor.
If you can find that, please send that in the Discord.
I'd like to see it.
Pretty please. Oh, that's too funny.
I have no idea how to feel about that.
Oh my gosh.
That's good stuff.
Good stuff. So, do we have anything else? I feel like this was a pretty solid discussion.
Yeah, this has been a very long discussion.
Is everyone planning on continuing the series, reading The Well of Ascension with us? Is that something
we're doing?
Something on the docket for you all? Something we're doing, that's for sure.
Because I want to jump into The Well of Ascension ASAP.
I feel that, me too.
Quite excited.
Quite.
Because I think I gave the second and third books 4 stars, but I'm wondering if now that I know more things about the Cosmere and now that like I've reread this one and liked it so much, I'm wondering if I'm gonna like they're gonna be 5-star reads on my reread.
Hopefully. Yes, for sure. Bought the book yesterday. Just finished The Well of Ascension. Good. Glad to hear it.
Achiever.
Absolutely
doing a reread with you guys. I'm so excited. I feel like this is one of my like favorite discussions we've had for the book club.
Really?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it too. It's just so easy to talk about Brandon Sanderson because he gives us so much to talk about.
I know. Also, this book is like kind of long. It's like 650 pages, so there's a lot.
Very true. So it looks like the live show will be on a Saturday next month, the very last day of August. So mark your calendars. I'll make an official announcement in the coming days, but I have like the very last Saturday of August off, so
it's very, very slay.
We'll make that a plan to talk about. And this will be on Kay's channel for The Well of Ascension. I know you're ending your book club, but it would be so fun if you just reread favorites. Like, I think we had a conversation about just doing, like, one big, massive, like, Brandon Sanderson read-along.
It's so tempting.
It really is. Never say never. We'll see.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on it, but, like...
Oh, yeah, but...
Cass did want to do a reread of Era 2. I want to do a reread of Era 2.
We did talk about potentially, like, doing reading sprints together. So instead of just, like, live discussions, doing, like, just sprints like we used to, just here and there. Like, we're not going to just vanish from the like, book club, but we just won't be having monthly discussions.
Mm-hmm. And we're definitely gonna do like an endings, like reading sprint kind of thing after we finish the last book in Mistborn. So
absolutely. I mean, we need a watch party for the release of Wind and Truth. That would be fun to do like a sprint where we're both reading that book.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to read Stormlight.
Better get on it.
Everyone keeps telling me that. I was like, I'll eventually get to Words of Radiance. I'll get to it.
I believe you'll get to it.
Steel Inquisitor Duck sent in chat. All right, I gotta see this. That is about as goofy as I thought it was going to be. Oh my gosh, it can be 3D printed. That is too funny. Yeah, you can't really see it. I was going to try to show you, but y'all are just going to have to look at the Discord. You can do it, Cass.
Links below.
You know what those books are?
They're only 1,000 pages.
Only.
I mean, some of them might be like 1,200. Semantics. I'm still trying to log into the Discord. But you don't have to wait on me. I can look at it later.
I got the time mixed up. No, Kelsey, we got the time mixed up. It wasn't you.
So sorry, Kelsey.
You're not. We were here early. We're so sorry. Yes, it'll be posted once we end the live. The live will be available on my channel. I think that's it. Thank you for joining us. This was so fun.
Very fun.
Also one of my favorite discussions that we've had.
I think it might be my top favorite, honestly.
Wow. I
just feel like everybody liked it so much, and you and I liked it so much, so it's just more fun.
It's more fun that way. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you next month. Like I said, probably the 31st of August to talk about the Will of Ascension. That will be over on Katie's. It will be 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Standard Time.
Yeah.
So sorry that we got the times mucked up on this one, but I'm happy that y'all were able to join us.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us on a Tuesday morning. I know it's a little awkward time for some people, but
we appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you're watching a recording, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. All right, bye guys. Have a good rest of your day.
Have a great Tuesday.